o'clock in Pirate Country, and it's time to get pumped up with the P-Man. Hit the door and hit the road. 94.3 The Game is going to get you home, and the P-Man's not holding back.
Yes! Yes! Pirates win! Pirates win!
Bring on the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
Holy mackerel! Oh, my goodness!
The flagship station of the ECU Pirates.
All right. Hello again, everybody, and welcome. It is the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game. No wonder you have problems with this. I mean, it is just, that's... Oh, William Grover is here. Philip the Ref Pilkington in the studio. We are out here in the Walter and Marie Williams Athletic Hall of Fame entranceway, I guess you could say, as we're here today. And this is where we are. And the biggest reason we're here today, I'm not talking about for the game. I mean, that's the reason we're doing the broadcast from here, because I'll be on the telecast tonight for ESPN Plus. But the biggest reason we're here is we don't have to listen to or be overpowered with some of William Grover's favorite music, the jams that he is so fond of. Pilk, we could beatbox, but I don't think we're going to.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to lose our audience.
We don't run the risk of being overwhelmed by music, because the DJ starts very early and then it bounces off of the seats because there's nobody in the seats at that point when the DJ starts to absorb them. Some 2 hours before the game.
Yeah.
And there you go.
I've got my own opinions
How are you,
on the whole
Pilk?
DJ thing, but I'll keep them to myself for now. I'm good.
You don't have a good opinion on the DJ thing?
No, I'm guessing we spent some money on it that maybe could have gone towards other places, like giving it to the athletes. But it is what it is. I'm good. I'm good. I got to see Jaquan McMillan ball out and beat Williams Brownies last night.
Yeah, what happened there, William?
Well, Jameis had a fantastic game, but he also threw 2 pick sixes. So it cancels out when you throw more
One of them
to the
to
other
Jaquan
team.
McMillan,
Yes.
former Pirate.
But when the opposing quarterback throws more touchdowns to the team than their quarterback does, you're going to have a problem.
Well, that was pretty succinct. I thought he would elaborate a little more on that, like go on and on like Pilk does whenever the Panthers lose, which means Pilk goes on and on a lot. So, but no, not the case. So, let's see here. We got another Pirate, Pilk, in the portal. Jari Patterson has entered or announced his intention to enter the portal.
Does that happen in the last 10 minutes? Because I had not seen that when I was on Twitter about 10 minutes ago.
I think that was earlier today.
Oh, I saw the Javius Bond thing.
Was it Javius Bond? Okay,
Yeah.
maybe I mixed up my players there. My mistake. I'm not sportsing hard enough. It is Javius Bond. That doesn't surprise me. Does that surprise you that Javius Bond got in?
No, I don't think so. I think London Montgomery proved that he is going to be the future number 1 back on this team. Javius has battled injuries. He has fallen down the depth chart due to the production of London Montgomery as well as his injuries, and I think this would be a great opportunity for him to get a fresh start at a new program, and it will allow London to step into Rajay's shoes is kind of what we already expected, and then it can still let Javius go somewhere else and be more of a prolific player in a different offense than he would have been here.
Yeah, I wonder if he's, if it's just an offensive fit kind of thing. It probably is, and yeah, we'll see. We will see if he will, where he will emerge. I already know that there are some people quite interested in Chase Sowell. I've heard that today. And then Sowell was honored, one of, 7 or 8 Pilk Pirates honored by the conference today with conference honors.
It was 8.
It was 8. So he was one of the 8 that was honored today by the Americans. So, look, big back, has had some great flashes in his career, does have some issues at times with the drops, or at least had them here at East Carolina. All conference caliber receivers. So I think there's he could find himself maybe in a P4 situation. At least I think. That's where, Chase Sowell.
Yeah, I mean, he came from a P4 situation as he came to us from Boulder. And this is a kid who's big. He's physical, right? And he runs very good routes. Like you said, the drops have become an issue to an extent. They're not as bad as they were a year ago. But what happened here was the production of Yannick Smith and Anthony Smith just kind of blew by Chase as it was paired with his injuries, kind of what we said about Javius Bond. So I don't think this is necessarily going to be a down move. I think this is going to be a lateral to an up move, and I do wish him the best. He can probably go get some more NIL money than is allowed in the Pirate program, and yeah, I don't see why he can't go succeed, especially at a day and time when receivers rotate so much. Even if he doesn't win a starting job, you can be a rotational piece and still see 20 to 25 snaps a game this day and age.
Well, and I think it's the type of thing, too, he can be selective and go find somewhere where there is a quarterback that would want to have him or a staff that would want to have him with who's productive. So someone that obviously is returning, or if somebody goes out and gets a quarterback out of the portal, a big-time quarterback, they would want pass catchers with that. So, yeah, I think that would very much be the case. Let's see. Anything else today, Pilk, that has crossed the wire here, especially in the afternoon, that has caught your attention or that I need to be aware of?
No, not to me. Like I said, we mentioned the all-conference stuff. We'll get some more of that in the update. The guys hitting the portal, I think the big news is going to come tonight when this new college football playoff ranking comes out to see how far teams that maybe lost fell and what that means for teams who don't have to play this week coming up. So I think tonight is going to be big. And I guess we'll get to it Thursday because we'll have a very busy day tomorrow. Have we teased that yet? Can I break the news to the folks as to who's on tomorrow?
Yeah, we mentioned it yesterday, but it's worth mentioning again. John Gilbert's going to be with us tomorrow. There's also, around the same time we're talking to John tomorrow, there's going to be the press conference for the I was told, at least last night, that was going to be around the same time as the press conference for National Signing Day. So we'll figure all that out, but it's kind of interesting, and at least you have a chance to hold the class intact at East Carolina with the hiring of Blake Harrell. I know a couple of people, that might have been for next year, that reopened their recruitment, but by and large, this class is stuck together. You're going to have 20-plus signing tomorrow, so that's important. A place like North Carolina, they've just decided to punt. They're not worried about the recruiting class. I mean, there'll be some kids that'll stick with the commitment because it's North Carolina, but they have basically decided, hey, we're not gonna press forward with this. So that is the latest there on that tomorrow. But John Gilbert will be on the program. Cy Seymour will join us here at some point during the course of the show. We also will hear, we've invited some other people to pop by, so maybe we'll have them, maybe we won't. If they show up, it'll be great. If not, then they'll never know because we won't promote them. And then we'll just shadow ban them. We'll be like old Twitter and shadow ban them.
There you go.
From the show. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
There's a couple we've already shadow banned that we throw something out there and say, hey, would you like to come on? And they give us the same old song and dance, so then we remember why we shadow banned them from the program.
There is some news. This doesn't really affect ECU because this was not a bowl that we were tied into either way. Well, actually, one of them, it was, I think ECU could have been tied into the Hawaii Bowl. USF is going to play San Jose State in the Hawaii Bowl. So the first American team has been selected. And then Western Michigan and South Alabama will play in the Salute to Veterans Bowl. This is according to Brett McMurphy.
So the American did not put a team in the Hawaii Bowl last year. That was one of a handful, maybe I think 9 bowls that the conference had the option to fill half of the slots or 4 of the slots. So one of those is already filled. And I had seen somebody project USF going to Hawaii. So yeah, it makes sense that would go ahead and be sort of announced and committed. But that is one you could take off the list. This morning on the show in the morning, there was talk of Myrtle Beach, and there was talk, which would be the 23rd, which would be Monday morning, the 23rd before Christmas.
Yeah, 11 a.m. would be the kick. That would be a 8 a.m. Anson Belt and Buckle Pirate Game Day count. I think, Patrick, you would have to hop off of Talk of the Town to come on.
I couldn't imagine any worse of a time and situation than that.
Yeah, I don't know how we do that. We're going to have to do both of them at the same time out of the same studio. That could be interesting.
Could be a challenge.
Yeah. Sorry, Henry, you're getting bumped. No TOT if we end up in that bowl game.
And then the other option that was bandied about this morning was the Military Bowl.
Yeah.
Which would be the Friday or Saturday after Christmas.
Yeah, I can't remember which.
The 28th, whenever that is.
Okay, 28th would be Saturday. Friday would be the 27th. So that'd be interesting. That's one where you could get Virginia Tech, maybe. They clinched bowl eligibility with their win at home against Virginia this past weekend. And, that would be if we could go up there and beat Virginia Tech, that would be a nice number one finger to their administration after that junk they pulled, 5-6 years ago now?
With the hurricane? Yeah.
Yep.
I would think personally it would be, if I had my druthers, I would say military. Because even though Myrtle Beach is Myrtle Beach, and Myrtle Beach could prove to be the exception, but it just typically, and I don't know if this is the case for everybody, I can only assume it is, but historically, ECU has not traveled well when it comes to pre-Christmas bowl games.
No,
those have always been. Now, Myrtle Beach may be the exception because it's a drive.
It's a
the
drive,
thing
and
that
it's
I would
the week
think,
of, too. I think, a lot of people finesse their way into taking that whole week off.
Right, but I just think that's the time of day on a Monday before Christmas is a little tough.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not. But, I mean, if you're looking at the drawback, plus you would get an ACC opponent if you're in the military.
True. I almost wonder East Carolina is going to be a bigger draw, not only from a in butts and seats standpoint, but a television standpoint than some other mid-major programs. When you look historically at the Myrtle Beach Bowl, because of that awkward start time, usually because they have 3 or 4 different conferences that they can pull from, usually they pull teams with really bad fan bases, just knowing that it's really tough to get eyes on that as is. So that I think ESPN just kind of counts their losses. So I would be a little surprised if ESPN wanted East Carolina to go into that, because they know they would lose some eyeballs on the product that they would otherwise get if East Carolina was in a bowl, say on Friday afternoon or sometime on Saturday.
Well, if you're on Saturday, which is more traditional viewing and that kind of thing, I don't know. To me, that if those are your two options, that's what's being kicked around right now, my preference would be military, because you just have a better competition and more interesting. Well, I think it's a better time, personally.
I would rather play Virginia Tech or Carolina than I would, someone from the MAC or the Sun Belt.
All right. With his entourage, Cy Seymour just walked in here.
All right.
So we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk ECU-UNCW. They're playing basketball tonight. We'll also talk some more college hoops with the great Cy Seymour. We will kick William out. Great contribution, William, to the show here early on. All right, we continue on right after this from outside of Williams Arena, Minges Coliseum in the Walter and Marie Williams Athletic Hall of Fame Hall. It is the Patrick Johnson Show.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
Living easy is the sound of children laughing as you make memories with neighbors and friends. It's the sound of nothing at all. It's the smell of the salt air. Hear the waters against the marsh grass. See the beauty of our coast, Bow Coast. Located in Beaufort, North Carolina. Southern Living's best small town.
Sawyer's Fun Park in Winterville is now open. With over 40,000 square feet of family fun, daily money-saving deals, and a full-service restaurant, Sawyer's Fun Park is guaranteed to have something the whole family will love. Test your ninja skills on our 2-story obstacle course or head over to one of our 5 rock walls and race your friends to the top. And when you've worked up an appetite in our laser tag arena or our one-of-a-kind ropes course, grab a table over at the restaurant and try our world-famous Southern Monster Fries. Reserve your spot today at SawyersFunPark.com and come join in on the fun.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human. About creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
Taking the rage out of your drive home.
You just cut me off, but it's no big deal.
Patrick Johnson on 94.3 The Game and the new IBX Media app.
I'm not even going to say what Si and I were talking about off the air. Off the air, the off-the-air show is better than the on-the-air show. Hello, Silas.
Hello there. How are you?
Great to see you.
Let me get my mic up here. I got it.
Yeah.
I'm not doing real well. You know how I am with this technical stuff.
Well.
All right, I'm ready to go.
This is loose technology. How are you? Good to see you.
He's still better than
Seymour.
He's still better than Coach Logan. I will say that.
Well, and look, your stories, they go beyond 30 years. They're 40, 50 years old. Your stories are.
Oh, that's the truth. I mean, I started coaching in 74.
Yeah, so your stories are really old.
Oh, yeah.
50 years old in some cases.
Right, exactly.
50 years. Can you imagine that?
Hard to believe. And it moves fast. I'm telling you.
The days are long, but the years are fast, right?
Man, too quick.
Yeah.
Too quick, but a lot of fun.
So 50 years of basketball with coaching and now broadcasting.
That's right.
How about that?
Yeah. Started as a middle school, then high school, then junior college coach, and then announcing, and it's been fun the whole time. I don't miss it. I love it. Tonight it'll be a lot of fun. It just is.
So we've got UNCW and ECU coming up tonight. Give me your early read on this game, your initial thoughts.
Well, I think, first of all, both teams are pretty darn good. I mean, this is
very similar in a lot of ways.
Yes, McGriff inside for UNCW, 6'9" left-hander, can really play. The guard play is like ours. Then you look at East Carolina; they've got the right pieces. So it's going to be a game that it's going to go 3, 4, 5 points more than likely either way, unless somebody gets in foul trouble. That's where you get hurt in this. So. It should be a good one.
What was interesting last year is that a lot of the guys who were big scorers or had big moments or did that, none of them are here.
No.
For either side.
No. Look, the average team is replacing probably 8 guys. 8 to 9 guys. The lowest, the average in the Atlantic Coast Conference when I looked it up was 8.5 guys per team. And that's where everybody else is. You'll get 2 or 3 freshmen and 5 transfers. And it's been crazy, Patrick. I got to get in this picture, right?
I know. You got to.
How do I go?
The vast video, come towards me. The vast video audience, all 2 of them want to see what's going on.
So you have to pretend that you like Patrick. I know you don't, but for one segment, you got to pretend.
Yeah. That's just like you normally do on the air. You have to. Everybody else apparently doesn't like me. I'm learning.
You know I like you.
And they all pretend that they, or at least they tolerate me, which is really sad because that you know what a sweetheart of a human I am.
You are.
The great Cy Seymour joins us here on the Patrick Johnson Show as we get ready for UNCW and ECU. Seahawks had dropped 2 in a row, 1 to Kansas, not surprising on the road. Colgate, though, was a little surprising. They usually have a little bit of a clunker in the preseason historically. That may have been it. But they came back and won the last 2 games of their MTE that they played in. Beat a pretty good Sam Houston State team. Yes. And then, with App State, I don't know how good App is, but, I mean, the emotion side of that is – and App thumped them last year up in Boone.
And they can do that. They're well coached. App's well coached, and they can get you too. But, listen, home court means a lot. And if you're East Carolina, you've got to hope that the crowd is out here for the ball game tonight. It makes a big difference.
Yeah, there are tickets. We are told it's going to be one of the better crowds of the early season. But if you are looking for something to do tonight, maybe your wife wants to shop, she could drop you off like Cy's wife did his and then go shop and then come out to the game and then pick you up afterwards. But in all seriousness, I mean, this is a team, East Carolina, 7-1. It would only be the second time since the 08-09 season that they've started a year 8-1. And they're 5-0 here at home. So they're playing really, really well right now. What has impressed you about East Carolina?
I like their balance, and I think Coach Schwartz seems comfortable with his team. He likes this team. He's a really good basketball guy. This is only his 3rd year as a head coach, and he's beginning to get comfortable, and he knows how to fit the pieces of the puzzle. I think he's probably missing a couple of pieces that he needs. And I'm talking about depth-wise. He probably needs another big, a couple of bigs. But other than that, this is a good basketball team, and he's got to figure out where it fits in.
This is going to be Mike Schwartz's 75th game tonight at ECU as the head coach. Is this the most important game that he has coached in?
Yeah, probably. I think it's an important game. But, yes, this year it is, because if you win this one, you got a chance to really have a great preseason. And you beat George Mason. That's a hard game. I'm telling you, the teams that he's played like that, that's tough. And so he's got another tough team tonight in Wilmington. Then he's got to go down to South Carolina. And then you got to finish out strong with North Alabama, and then you got to Gardner-Webb. So he could do that, but it's not easy.
With R.J. Felton, and I mean, we've talked about all the superlatives. Tonight is a night where R.J. didn't play great against UNCW last year, but it's a night where R.J. Not only has to be the leader, and he's going to do everything to win, but I think has to get his other teammates involved early, regardless of how Wilmington plays him.
Well, I think the key is don't overdo. The great ones let the game come to them, and then they really make the plays. And you got Riley out there. You got Cam Hayes. You got weapons. Woodard can help you so much. And then you look at the big man inside, Walker. They've got people that can do that job for you. And so all they have to do is stay ready. They'll be fine as long as they do those things. And that's going to be the key.
The great Cy Seymour is with us here. Cy and I will have the call on ESPN Plus tonight. Darren Vaught will be on beginning at 6:30 with the pregame show for radio. And we'll have the call on 94.3 The Game right here. Also 107.9 WNCT and the IBX Media app. Let's ask you a little bit about Jordan Riley. To me, I'm real impressed. I mean, I'm certainly impressed with C.J. Walker and how he's played, but Riley has really impressed me.
Well, Riley, first of all, he was great at Temple. I mean, he scored 19 in here. He's one of the best players in New York City when he was recruited for Temple. And Mike Schwartz picked him up in the portal. That's a great pickup. I mean, it's really, and he's an outstanding player. He'll defend the best perimeter guy. He just will. And he will also play defense. He can rebound it. He can shoot it. And he does everything. He's like R.J. Felton. I mean, they're both really good players, and you have Cam Hayes out there, but there are a lot of pieces on the perimeter game that can help you.
You know what they did? There's a Coach Siddle walking by in front of us right now. One of the things that they did that I really, and by they I mean East Carolina, they did that I really liked last game against A&T is they kind of spread it out, a little 4-around-1 spread.
Yep.
and that gave some room to operate, particularly for C.J. Walker. This is a perimeter-oriented Wilmington team, but can that be effective against them tonight?
Yeah, anytime you can spread the floor, you're better off to do that. And so I think with these two teams, they do it well, and it should be a good one. As we see, all the Wilmington crowd.
Mike Vaccaro's coming. When Mike Vaccaro shows up, it's a major event.
That's right.
Voice of the Seahawks. Mark's a great guy and has done a great job over the years. Mike Vaccaro.
But the thing is about that ball club.
That was my Henry Hinton. I called somebody my great friend and got their name wrong.
It's okay.
All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's better than I do. You know, I just know I barely know my own. I mean, that's where I am.
Right.
But I think when you look at the two matchups, I like the ECU perimeter game. I like the Seahawks perimeter game. I like this contest. I like the tradition of Wilmington that they do not have football, so they really concentrate on basketball.
This is also a big game to them for a lot of reasons.
Yes. Well, it is a big game.
Yeah.
You're in this our conference, the Americans, one of the top 7 or 8 conferences, and this is a big game for them. If you beat this team, you move up the ladder as far as prestige in the country, because this is the American Conference.
The other thing that is big here is our fans. This is a rivalry. The Wilmington people take it very, very seriously. So a big crowd at home is an important thing tonight.
You got to have a big crowd. And I have been in here when Wilmington was more vocal than East Carolina. And I've seen that done before. And when you go to Wilmington to play, their student section's filled up at least 45 minutes to an hour before game. I mean, it really is. It's an unbelievable game. It is big to them and vocal, and they're letting you have it. And every time I've been there, that's the way it's been.
They're going to be without, it looks like, Noah Ross tonight. We've not gotten any confirmation from the Wilmington people, but a source tells me that it's a hand injury with him and that it is not great as far as a prognosis for him to be available, not just tonight, but for a few games. That's a big loss to them because he's a guy that can kind of do a bunch of different things.
Grad guy. Been around a long time, 6'5", can shoot it, can score, knows how to play, kind of a glue guy, really good player. So that's what you have in him, and he's that good a player. So to lose him hurts, but they've got 2 or 3 big guys inside that can really help your ball club, and that's going to be important.
Donovan Newby is their leading scorer. He's a guard. I don't think he's quite 6'1", but he still finds a way for a little guard to score. And can shoot it pretty well. If you're ECU, how do you deal with him tonight?
Well, it's going to be interesting to see what they do. Do they put Cam Hayes on him, or do they go with the other guy outside? It's hard to tell them what they'll do. Riley, I don't know which.
I know you got nervous because Mr. Brinkley walked by.
Yeah, Mr. Brinkley walked by. He's in a lot of trouble.
And you got very nervous about it.
Yeah, he is terrible. I mean, I do the best I can with him.
But that's a tough assignment for Riley or whoever, isn't it?
Yeah, and he might go with Cam Hayes. He may just. It'll be interesting how Coach Schwartz. Listen, he eats, sleeps, and drinks it. He has his strategy on this thing. The big thing is foul trouble inside can hurt East Carolina more than anything else.
How about Cam Hayes? Probably played one of his better games last time around. And it was not just scoring the ball, but overall floor game. He just the whole deal. He played really well.
Yeah, Cam played. I thought he was comfortable and he knew what he wanted to do. He was not cocky, but confident, and he did it the right way. Hit the shots that he needed to hit. And I like Cam. I think he came into this season feeling that way, and so he showed it the other night. But the other part is we're trying to get too much out of him. He didn't get started last year until I know we were on the road with him when he got the okay. I
don't even think at this point in the year he'd played this time a year ago.
Finally, he got to play down in Lakeland against Florida, University of Florida. That was his first game. I mean, so you look at the year, he didn't play but a half a year last year, and so now he's just getting into it and getting comfortable.
Can you stay for another segment, or you need to get in there?
No, I'm good.
Okay. All right, Pilk, let's go back to you, get an update. We'll come back and talk some more about this game, but also talk some college basketball on the whole with the great Cy Seymour here on the Patrick Johnson Show from just outside of the Coliseum.
Thank you, P-Man. Starting in Pirate Athletics, obviously the basketball team is in action tonight right here on 94.3 The Game and our sister station 107.9 as part of the ECU Sports Network. Darren Vaught will be on the call as the 7-1 Pirates host the 5-2 Seahawks. Pirates still 5-0 inside Minji's Coliseum this year. In football news, running back Javius Bond has entered the transfer portal. He had 54 carries, 323 yards, and a pair of touchdowns in his 2 seasons in a Pirate uniform. 8 Pirate football players got conference honors. Second team all-conference was running back Rajay Harris, wide receiver Chase Swell, linebacker Zakai Barker, third team offensive lineman Parker Moore, and safety Omar Rogers. Named to the honorable mention list was defensive lineman J.D. Lampley and wide receiver Anthony Smith, as well as wide receiver and kick return specialist Winston Wright Jr. The first ever SEC ACC Challenge will begin tonight. South Carolina will be at Boston College. Notre Dame will travel to Georgia. Miami will host Arkansas. Missouri will host Cal. Don't know how those teams are in the ACC and the SEC. That's weird to see. Tennessee will be hosting Syracuse. Oklahoma will host Georgia Tech. A&M will host Wake. Louisville will host Ole Miss. LSU will be welcoming Florida State. And Clemson will host number 4 Kentucky. Also, the Canes will be in action tonight as they host the Seattle Kraken at 7 o'clock. That'll do it for 94.3 The Game Sports Flash Update and Pirate Report. We're going to take a time out here on the Patrick Johnson Show and go into a deeper preview between the Pirates and the Seahawks on the other side with Cy Seymour.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227.
Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Go Pirates! Arrgh!
Looking for a great deal on a new Nissan?
At Greenville Nissan, we've got a great selection of new Nissans for under $30,000.
The stylish Nissan Sentra, offering top-notch fuel economy. The Nissan Altima, known for its comfort and technology.
The Nissan Kicks, the perfect combination with its compact design and performance. The Nissan Versa, delivering incredible value without compromising on features. And don't forget the Nissan Rogue, an award winner for 10 years in a row. Drive it home just for $22 down and $349 a month.
Visit GreenvilleNissan.com today.
Greenville Nissan, where we drive to serve.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's cut in color. And let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
Covered with all the ECU news and beyond that you need for the drive home. The Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome back. We are here on 94.3 The Game, 94.3thegame.com, and the IBX Media app. Patrick Johnson and the great Cy Seymour here Let me see here, Cy. So according to Dan Hurley, he is not going to play. Yeah, Jim, there he is, the great Jim from Town Bank.
Yeah, I mean, he's a good man, too.
Yeah.
Well liked.
He's not going to play any more MTEs. Dan Hurley said that in a press conference this week after his experience where they went 0-3 out in Maui. He said, we'll do home and homes, we'll do neutral sites, but we're not doing any more MTEs.
You know, the thing is about those games is that somebody's going to come out of there like that. It's really hard. You're 0-3, and everybody's good, but you don't feel good.
Right.
Well, we played good and we lost 3. No, that isn't how it works.
But but isn't that kind of? I mean, you're the premier program. He acted like a jackass.
Yeah, he did
in Hawaii.
I'll tell you what. When he played ECU here the last time they came in, when they were in the American, his team put on a clinic that day. They were really good. I mean, they really were.
We talked to a lot of officials, and I mean, I've had officials say, especially late in the season, you just you have to get on him early because if not, you just have to say, look, not today.
Well, let me explain to you about the coaching part. When you get to February, you're worn out.
Frayed nerves.
Oh, my goodness. It's the worst time of year for coaches. I know that. And there are pivotal games that you're thinking, if this is a game that if we lose, I could lose the team. I mean, that's how you feel.
Or lose your job.
Yeah, or lose your job. And now in today's world, you're going to lose your team anyway. So, but I'm just saying it is really difficult when you get into the dog days of February. It is just so hard, and the pressure's on, and then you get a bad call and you just explode. And it happens, and especially on this level. But Hurley, already early in the year, he just went crazy. I thought he went overboard up down in Maui. And it's okay, but it's hard. You can't do that.
Memphis played really well out there.
Memphis, our league played really well. I mean, when you think about Memphis, they did well. When you look at, I thought, who was it? Wichita State played well. Wichita State got Minnesota in a big win.
Yeah, that was a big one. I actually was listening to that game.
And now they got blown out in the championship, but that didn't matter. For our league, the Power Fives, we did really well against them. And what Memphis did out there in Maui was unbelievable. I mean, you go in and you get Hurley first, and then you beat Michigan State second. And then you lose that third game. And I know Penny's thinking, hey,
well, you lost to Auburn, and Auburn right now may be the best team in the country right now.
They really are.
They'll play at Duke tomorrow night. Beat UNC. Auburn did, and just a remarkable, a really remarkable run by the Auburn Tigers. When you have that ACC SEC thing, it used to be the ACC Big Ten deal. It started out as the ACC Big East.
That's right.
35 years ago.
Yeah.
Was that a great? But I mean, do you like that when these conferences match up against you? I mean, it's all made for television.
Well, it goes back to what's happening in every sport. They want entertainment, and they're going to make you go head to head against teams. I was thinking about Clemson. I looked at their schedule, and I was on the phone with their coaches Monday, and he says, "We have Kentucky in this thing at 9:30 Tuesday night, so they're playing tonight." And those guys are former UNCW guys. I mean, these are really good basketball guys. But they say, and then you looked at the rest of their schedule for the month. It's all ACC stuff. It doesn't let up.
Yeah.
And but to have Kentucky tonight is a tough matchup. And Brad Brownell will do a good job. It should be a good basketball game, but it never lets up. From now on out, every game's a pressure cooker.
Cy, we're gonna let you go here. We'll get some cuts from Coach Houston coming up. Then I'll join you in there in a little bit. When you look at tonight, what are some keys to the game for the Pirates?
I think for one of the things is you have to stay out of foul trouble. That's one. But the key will be you got to play good defense. You cannot turn it over against the relentless pressure that both teams are going to give, either team. And you got to out-rebound Wilmington. And so those are the keys. And always, nowadays, the three ball, you've got to shoot it. You've got to shoot it well. You just have to. If you don't, you're going to get beat.
Pirates are shooting 31% from three, and that's only because last game they were 8 out of 21. and shot it pretty well. The thing that really stood out to me in some of the Wilmington numbers is their opponents are shooting just 29% from three, so they'll chase you off the line.
They're a good defensive ball club.
Yeah. And, it's going to be interesting to see who can impose their will on the offensive end. Who can do what they want to do offensively the most tonight.
And always remember, Wilmington has better depth inside. And so if ECU gets in trouble in the paint, guys, you got to work it around the best way you can.
And you know what's interesting is Mike Swartz told us, because that was something we talked about a lot during the George Mason game. He said, I'm comfortable with us switching.
Okay. Yeah, he does. He's not worried about switching out.
And he's not worried about a guard in the paint.
No, he's not.
But, that's interesting, too, because no real offense is predicated on pounded inside. In fact, in a way, you can kind of screw your offense up the way they're geared now.
Yeah.
If you just try to go inside.
Right. You really the game has changed in that way. And the whole high ball screens, what Mike's saying is to defend the high ball screens, you need to be able to switch everything. And you do, and he has a big enough team that he can switch it, and they play so hard. So you just let him do his thing because he's a good coach.
Now the entourage that brings you in here, where do they go when you're on the air here? What do they do?
Well, they go up to the Murphy Center and they eat.
You allow your entourage to go?
Well,
wow, all right.
I do allow them to go up there and eat, and they leave me here.
With me?
Yeah, with you. So we starve. That's the way it works. I mean,
you can't eat before these things,
can you? You can't.
You can't. For a number, one, you might spill something on you.
That's right.
Two, you can't.
I'm telling you, it's hard.
Yeah.
It really is. It's difficult.
All right, great to see you. Thank you for coming by. We'll see you in a little bit.
Look forward to it.
All right, Cy will be on tonight on ESPN Plus with me. We're going to take a timeout. When we come back, we will have some cuts yesterday from Coach Swartz as he talked about this matchup. So Mike Swartz, some of his thoughts on the game when we come back. We're going to 6:30. Philip the Rep Pilkington will take you for most of the 6 o'clock half hour, perhaps with help from William Grover. I don't know. William, you could help Pilk if you wanted to, but I'll leave that up to you guys to hash out. We'll come back and have more of the Patrick Johnson Show from Williams Arena Minges Coliseum ahead of ECU and UNCW right after this.
This holiday season, get the gift you really want at Greenville Toyota. It's our holiday trade-up. Drive a new Corolla, just $229 a month, or a new Tacoma, only $329 a month during the holiday trade-up at Greenville Toyota.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Everybody loves tiebreakers.
Storm season is approaching. North Carolina weather can damage your roof, and before long, a small leak can turn into a big problem. Your home is one of your biggest investments, so protect it with Wells Home Improvements.
We work with all insurance companies for a hassle-free roof installation experience. Call us today and get 10% off your roof installation when you mention this commercial.
252-227-8403 or visit us online at wellshomeimprovements.com. Wells Home Improvements. Local, honest, dependable.
Sawyer's Fun Park in Winterville is now open. With over 40,000 square feet of family fun, daily money-saving deals, and a full-service restaurant, Sawyer's Fun Park is guaranteed to have something the whole family will love. Test your ninja skills on our 2-story obstacle course or head over to one of our 5 rock walls and race your friends to the top. And when you've worked up an appetite in our laser tag arena or our one-of-a-kind ropes course, grab a table over at the restaurant and try our world-famous Southern Monster Fries. Reserve your spot today at SawyersFunPark.com and come join in on the fun.
Let's go! Woo! Woo! Yeah! Woo! Football time!
Set the tone. Kyle, tie your shoes, tie your shoes. Yeah, good job.
Woo! Yeah!
Grab a Pepsi Wild Cherry and get wild.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
Unwrap a new Toyota for the holidays at Greenville Toyota. It's our holiday trade-up. Get a new Camry, $269 a month, or a new RAV4, $329 a month. Trade up and save at Greenville Toyota.
Have you noticed he's in his own little happy hour? We're back to the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
This is the Happy Hour program.
Here's the P-Man.
Pilk, I know there are a lot of idiots out there. You're not one of them, Pilk. But
I appreciate that.
Are you gonna find anybody who's more of a gem of a human than Cy Seymour?
No, you're not.
If you don't like, I've said this 100 times, if you've got a problem or don't like Cy Seymour, that's a you issue.
Yeah.
Because he's just the best. Just the best. Gem of a human.
I'm jealous of you and William getting to hang out with him. That's the problem. I always get stuck back in the studio on these weeknight
it's like
games.
I said yesterday, if you ever wanted to come out of the studio and,
Hey, trust me, I want to. I get locked up.
Well, you stick William in the studio and you come out. I mean, you couldn't do any less than he does. Right?
You should have seen William's face when it said stick him in the studio.
I don't think I'm prepared for the studio.
Barely prepared for this.
I'm definitely not prepared for this.
No, you're not. You actually sounded good there. I think Cy had the Midas touch on the headphones there. For once, you don't sound like you're broadcasting from the moon.
Well, what can't Cy fix?
There's probably a lot of things. He could draw you up a play, though.
Yeah. This thing, Coach, you want the best of William? Wait till Major League Baseball season. That's when you get prime William.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. His baseball.
What do you think of the golden bat?
I think
bat.
They're ruining baseball. I thought they ruined baseball when they made the bags bigger.
We talked about this yesterday off the air, Pilk. I don't think we talked about it on the air, but everything that NASCAR did to lose its fan in the name of we're going to grow the fan base, didn't grow the fan base, and you actually torqued off your loyal fans and lost them. That's Major League Baseball right now. Would you agree with that, William?
I would agree with that. They're ruining the tradition and the fundamentals of the game, and they're going to lose all the fans that are there for that by trying to make it appeal to a younger audience to make it more engaging. Leave that for the Savannah Bananas.
Wow. There's a hot takery from you there. Wow. I mean, but he's right. You don't get great moments if you're going to if you do the golden bat situation. And as an old school scorekeeper that likes to do it in the book, in pen, the last thing we need is fudging around with that, Pilk.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, it's completely stupid. I mean, whoever came up with this probably should just be crap canned right off the jump. I mean, this is just trying to
absurd is what it is.
Cheating. Yeah, it's something you do. Like, this is a backyard baseball thing. Like, this is so dumb. And, I mean, on top of it, like you said, what's going to happen is when there's 2 outs in the 9th inning and you got a guy coming up to the plate. Think of the Kevin Millar at bat against the Yankees, right? He was not a great hitter, but what was he good at doing? Getting walks. So he goes up there, he fouls off a couple pitches, he draws the walk. Dave Roberts comes in and steals, and then, you get all this drama. It's not that much drama if Big Papi comes out there and hits a nuke. Like, what are we doing? I mean, this is just – really, when I read this rule, I thought it was something – I thought it was fake. I really did. I mean, this is the dumbest rule.
You thought it was #fake news?
Yeah.
All right. Let's hear from Coach Swartz about this game tonight. Says he's excited for the matchup against UNCW, Cut 5.
Really big challenge for us, and Coach Siddle does a great job there at UNC Wilmington's program. I've got so much respect for their team, their program, their coaching staff, and their players and what they've done. They're playing their best basketball right now, particularly over the last 2 games. It's very clear that they're playing their best basketball, and they've played good all year. I mean, heck, they went into Kansas and really fought, and Adams played well there. But I mean, at Kansas, we know what kind of a difficult game that is. But just in general, we know it's a real challenge for us. Very good team coming in, and a good rivalry game. Two great fan bases, two programs that have had some good history. So looking forward to it.
Coach Schwartz on rivalries, and he says that's what make college sports. He's right.
The excitement is, again, I think rivalries is what makes college sports, and you and I have spoken about this before. And I know when we went in there a couple of years ago, it's as good of an atmosphere as we've seen in all of our time at ECU. And we've been to a lot of great places, obviously, but that in Trask Coliseum, the way they were in there, and then our fans came in here last year and they provided the same atmosphere in here. And so obviously we're hopeful for that, and I've talked about it, and our coaching staffs have talked about it, meaning UNCW's and ours, that this series will continue for a long time because it's great for both programs and it's great for both fan bases and those environments. It's what, now they get that consistently at Trask. I know that. Again, I've been familiar with their program from Jerry Wainwright to Coach Keats, who obviously is so close with Coach Siddle, and Brad Brownell. They have had that going there, and we're building that here in terms of the atmospheres night in and night out.
Now, Coach alluded to it there, and that is that he says the series will continue. I don't think it's been officially announced yet, but they're going to continue, and it's going to be a home-and-home series. There's some discussion of maybe doing a neutral site game. I don't know if they're going to do that or not. I don't know where they would play that if they decided to, but there is discussion of there is confirmation, I've been told, that and I don't know if it's been announced. I don't know if all the contracts have been signed, but basically there's an agreement at the very least in principle that they're going to continue a home and home. I mean, quite frankly, they should. This is a good series for ECU. It's a good series, one that I think UNCW wants to play. You're always going to have competitive games. You're always going to have, at least certainly in Wilmington, fired up crowds. And I think you'll have good crowds here. I don't know what a good night to play it is. I don't know if Tuesday night in early December is a great night to play it. We'll find out. I think you want to play this game where students can go to it. And you don't want it to run into any football. So, the early December might be as good as a shot as you can get. But, I think a Friday night would be great to play this game if you can work it out. I know Wilmington is committed to their MTE that they're going to play over the next several years. They want to have that and that be an annual thing. And maybe 1 year when it's on Wilmington's slate, maybe you go down there and you play in their MTE.
Yeah, I'm not against that as it comes to the Friday thing. It would be interesting to see what Minji's would look like on a Friday as far as students. I have been to a game in Trask on a Friday night, actually in mid-November. And it was, just kind of what Cy was talking about. It was a normal Wilmington home game. You wouldn't know that, hey, it was a Friday night. The students could be out doing X or doing Y. No, it was the same as a weeknight game against a conference opponent, despite being a Friday at a conference game. I'm for that. However, I know the Pirate fans or the Pirate students like to partake in beverages on Friday nights. So maybe here, I don't know if that's as good of an idea, but who knows?
No, again, I think it just depends on where it falls. I think it's got to kind of fall time of year. So, I mean, I think maybe like if you had a game this Friday here, for example, I think you'd draw okay. Of course, that's in the middle of finals. Aren't finals? When do finals run from?
Finals start this week and run through next week. But today is reading day. So I feel like since nobody had class today, there should be a good turnout for the Pirate student.
Because everybody was reading today.
No, I doubt that, but I think the Pirate students should be at the game tonight. They should be.
Nicky the Bull said he couldn't come in because he was studying for 2 exams. I was proud of Nicky the Bull.
Oh, I'm proud for Nicky the Bull. Good for him. I got to get him an article of clothing to take to his brother sometime. What do you did you study today?
I wrote a paper today.
Oh, you wrote a paper. Okay. Mm-hmm. What was the paper on?
Ethics.
Is this in communications?
Construction ethics.
Oh, construction. That's right, because you're construction. Yeah. Okay. That's interesting. Do you find that interesting?
I do.
Did you find it interesting?
Yes. The whole class wasn't about ethics, but
there's some builders I've come across that actually need to take that class.
It is told that construction is the second least ethical industry behind used car salesmen.
Wow.
I feel like it's just the auto industry in general, not just used, but How about the mechanics? I mean, you get a small town good mechanic you trust. That's a unique thing these days. When
Worth
you go
its
to a
weight in
dealership,
gold right there.
Yeah, man. If you
That's
go to a
worth its weight in
dealership, they're
gold.
just gonna pinch you for every penny they can.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. Actually, you are right about that. But even there, if you're there and you find somebody, you got to kind of stick with them, actually.
True.
So, I feel like we're in the way. I feel like our table's a little far out. But we had to leave the door because the volleyball team was practicing. That event will be played here at Minji's 3 o'clock. The NIVC first round will be played between Mercer and UConn, and then ECU and Winthrop at 6 o'clock Thursday. And then I will be on ESPN 3 Friday at 6 for the winners of those. So can't tell you how excited I am about getting ready for 4 teams, but only calling a match for 2.
Just to confirm, that's as we always say, admission is free all season long. This does not count, right? The NCAA does require
right, because this is a postseason. It's like the NIT, when it's hosted on campus, or any postseason that's on campus in basketball, for example. It's not part of the season ticket package. The season ticket package effectively for volleyball is free entry, and because it's not part of that in-season policy, if you want to go, you do have to buy tickets to the event.
Okay, that's what
There goes Adler Augustine there. We could probably get Adler to come over here, but I need to get in there and get ready for television. So, Pilk, are you going to go on with Pilk? Can you talk about construction ethics?
I can if need be.
Okay. Can you try not to ruin this headset?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to pass the headset off to William Grover, Pilk, so you got him to bounce off of here.
Sounds good. Works
and you've
for
got
me.
audio. I even left you some audio from some Fresh Schwartz audio to bounce off of here.
You did.
Including a scout of UNCW. No need to thank me, Pilk.
I appreciate it.
No need to thank me.
We will get to it.
All right, tomorrow, don't forget, John Gilbert will be on with us. Looking forward to having him. He'll be on the program. And we will also have the latest from National Signing Day as far as ECU goes. That'll be tomorrow. I will see you in about an hour on ESPN Plus. Also tomorrow morning on Talk of the Town, and then back here on the Patrick Johnson Show. We'll break. We'll come back, and Philip Pilkington and William Grover will lead you into ECU basketball coverage as they host UNCW tonight. A timeout, and we'll come back with more here on the Patrick Johnson Show.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
Living easy is the sound of children laughing as you make memories with neighbors and friends. It's the sound of nothing at all. It's the smell of the salt air. Hear the waters against the marsh grass. See the beauty of our coast. Bow Coast, located in Beaufort, North Carolina. Southern Living's best small town.
Sawyer's Fun Park in Winterville is now open. With over 40,000 square feet of family fun, daily money-saving deals, and a full-service restaurant, Sawyer's Fun Park is guaranteed to have something the whole family will love. Test your ninja skills on our 2-story obstacle course, or head over to one of our 5 rock walls and race your friends to the top. And when you've worked up an appetite in our laser tag arena or our one-of-a-kind ropes course, grab a table over at the restaurant and try our world-famous Southern Monster Fries. Reserve your spot today at SawyersFunPark.com and come join in on the fun.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cook-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human. About creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
And now, the stunning conclusion of the show. It's the P-Man here on 94.3 The Game.
Welcome back into the Patrick Johnson Show. P-Man getting ready for his TV assignment as the Pirates get set to take on the Seahawks of UNC Wilmington, which we heard right here on 94.3 The Game, as well as our sister station, 107.9 WNCT, as part of the ECU Sports Network. You can also hear it free on the IBX Media app. Philip Pilkington and William Grover are taking you home here today. And William, you were at the A&T game on Friday. I was producing it, so obviously I was as engaged as you can be, but I didn't see the game firsthand. Just kind of your overall thoughts on that contest. I thought the Pirates looked better in the second half than they did the first.
I really think that CJ Walker and Cam Hayes looked phenomenal that game. Cam Hayes really took over that game. He took stride being able to be in the point guard role and not just playing off ball the entire time. They kind of gave the off ball role to RJ Felton where that game is. CJ Walker down low started off very slow but picked it up in the second half and played phenomenally on both sides of the ball.
I like what you said there about Cam Hayes. Let's hear from Cam now. He talks about how he feels very comfortable in that point guard role.
Yes, I do feel more comfortable playing a point guard, but whatever coach needs me to do, whether it's playing the one or the two, but this year he just put an emphasis on me playing the one, and I just want to thank him for being able to trust me, and I just feel like I can do whatever out there and be as comfortable at the one.
I'm having flashbacks, William, to his freshman year at NC State.
He's playing to that level. He's playing phenomenally, and through I think it was the first 12 minutes of the game, 15 minutes of the game, maybe even the first half, he hadn't missed a shot, and he was shooting 100%. And going into halftime, I think he only missed one. He was just playing lights out.
Yeah, that's big. Look, when you're a point guard, you've got to be able to facilitate. That's number one. But when a team, especially beyond the arc and through that medium range, can lay off of you and just guard the passing lanes, because you're not a threat to score, that can hurt your productivity and your ability to pass the ball, and it can hurt your assist-to-turnover ratio. And Cam's ability to score, I think, is not hurting that, or is definitely helping that, I should say. And, one of the things that they did was turn the ball over a few times there in the first half, and then they bounced back in the second half, and I think they made some good halftime adjustments, and Coach Swartz talked about that thanks to William Grover's question. Was that your first question at a press conference, William?
My first question at a press conference. I noticed that there was 4 people in the room, and I was like, this is going to be the day. There's no IGO here.
Yeah, when there's no IGO, somebody else got to step up, so we appreciate you. Here's Coach Swartz kind of on those halftime adjustments.
We had talked a lot about, and we have been since Florida and prior to Florida, just understanding where spacing on drives, spacing when the defense collapses. And again, they're a team. They play passing lanes. They look for steals. They do a good job of it. They've done a good job in multiple games so far this season. They were just in a possession game versus Buffalo the other night. So they're a good team at doing that, and they cause and create turnovers. So we just talked about it, but we said, hey, you just got to be smart and play on balance, play, off 2 feet. And when you look at the assist numbers, 23 assists, 9 turnovers, 23 assists, I think, on either 31 or 33 made field goals, whatever it was. I mean, that's something that our guys do. They know the importance of it, and I thought everybody really shared the ball, starting with Cam.
Yeah, they did. And look, overall, it was a great team win. I know that was the most productive opponent, but I go back 2 years ago to fall of 2022, and I know that I'm going to bring up the women's team here. We're talking about the men's team, but they had a very easy out-of-conference schedule. Kim McNeil was asked during her pregame or her preseason media day why the schedule was so easy, and she said, "Look, this team needs to learn how to win. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who you're beating; it just matters that we're winning because that can then translate to conference play." And William, I think right now, look, I know little Pirate fans are a little frustrated. Yeah, we're 7-1, but who have we beaten? But I think this team has not only learned how to win games, but they've learned how to win games, close games. They've won blowout fashion. They've won games against fast-paced teams. They've won games against slow-paced teams. They've won teams who are guard-heavy. They've won against teams who are bigs-heavy. And I'm starting to see this team finally come together more than they have in past years.
I have to agree on that. You've seen them keep their foot on the gas, even on teams that in games that they're winning big. They played teams like Mount Olive, who ran a full-court press the entire game. They were going to make you pass the ball. They're going to make you run down the court, high score, and play. That's how they play. Then we're going to play slower teams like we might see tonight. We might see slower, just very direct passing using the entire shot clock, and that's no problem. But ECU's got to adjust, and they're learning how to adjust when they're playing conference teams that have different play styles. They'll be able to beat them as well. I think this is a great start for the Pirates. I think this is exactly where they want to be. And before sooner or later when the conference schedule kicks in, we're going to be ready, and they're going to show that this 7-1 start was something that was really important for them.
Yeah, I agree, and I think now it's good to go ahead and flip that page to the Seahawks of UNCW. Obviously, Cy and Patrick have talked about it, but William and I will get into a little bit more. And here was Coach Schwartz's thoughts and scouting the Seahawks.
They're a talented team. I mean, Donovan Newby is a heck of a basketball player, and he can score any which way. He's getting to the free throw line a ton. Reminds us a lot of P.J. Haggerty from Tulsa last year and at Memphis now, who's one of the best guards in the country. I think the way Noah Ross is playing, I think McGriff on the inside, they got a bench. They're a really good ball club. They've always done a great job recruiting. They got talented players. And again, Coach Siddle has a system. Man, they play hard, they pressure the ball, they play defense. They're a very well-coached team. We know they play an up-tempo style of basketball. So, yeah, the names might be different, but they have players that were on the team last year as well. We have players that were on last year. We have new players, but the system is something that we have great respect for, and Wilmington's a heck of a ball club.
That they are, and, it's interesting, this day and time. And you see it now with conference play, out of conference play, doesn't matter. You're playing guys who it might be the same logo as it was a year ago, but obviously not the same team. And so it makes it tougher to scout. But obviously, Wilmington has played 7 games. They're 5-2, so you've got the film. But some of the big prolific scorers are not there from a year ago. But one thing that they do is they do have some size, and that is something that worries me a smidge coming into tonight's game. We saw Reed Kaysen finally see some minutes. I guess he was battling an injury earlier in the season. He's the freshman out of Oklahoma. He can be definitely an inside defender, but I think the Pirates are going to have to pick up the defense on the low block. Not that it's been bad this year, but we just don't have the size of some teams, and Wilmington's one of those teams.
I don't know if it's as much as we need to pick up the defense, is that we need to be careful on defense to not draw fouls and get ourselves in a situation where we have to play too many mismatches down low. Of course, we have Travion LeBeau who's down low. He's 6'3". He plays the forward role, and that might be a little bit of a mismatch this game, but he plays very big for his size. So I'm interested to see how he will play down low compared to some of these taller guys at UNCW that they have are 6'9". But I think as long as we play solid basketball and we're not too hack-happy, then we won't get into foul trouble, and I think we should be solid from there.
Yeah, I think it comes down to you can get a basket back, but you can't get a foul back, right? Like, don't put yourself in those situations. And, maybe we'll see more of Sierra Long tonight. Maybe we see more of Callum Richard. Maybe, they bring Jan Farrell down kind of on the low block to play some defense. Yes, he's only 6'6", but another guy that plays maybe a little bigger than his size as well. And that was one thing I do like about this Pirates team, man. They're physical, and I was talking about it with Igo earlier today. When this team is always going to be recruited, as long as Mike Schwartz is the head coach, based off their defensive ability. and he wants physical defense. But what I've noticed is these guys' defense very much translates their offense. We've become a more physically offensive team as well. We have worked the ball inside. We have drawn fouls. Even when you do have smaller guys being guarded by bigger guys, they're finding ways to not get blocked, to take good shots, and to get fouled. And getting to the free throw line is something that this team has done very well. I've really liked this offensive identity. It's something that we really haven't seen over the past couple of years. Now, a lot of credit to that is to Cam Hayes and his ability to run the point guard position. But overall, I'm seeing a lot more just fundamentally sound basketball, I think, in this Pirate offense as opposed to what it was a year ago.
I have to agree. I think there's a lot more ball movement this year. You're seeing guys like R.J. Felton and Cam Hayes really take over their role in being a passer instead of just a straight-up scorer. Like last year, we would see it with Brandon Johnson, Bobby Pettiford, Ezra Azar. We'd see them all want to play and hog the ball and be me instead of team. And this year, we're seeing a lot more team basketball instead of somebody getting the ball and just backing a guy down for 3 seconds to do a post move that might not even finish. So it's really good to see that the guys are taking advantage of defensive takes, and then they're going and playing offense and distributing the ball instead of just trying to take it to the rim or shoot a transition three every single time.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. One thing I want to kind of get your opinion on here next is this team, what I love is that we don't only have 7 guys, and we're like looking for the 8th. They're looking for the 9th. There's been a lot of guys play, and we mentioned Reed Kaysen coming back last time out, finally getting some minutes. But the frustrating thing I think has been a little bit is it's still who are the 8 guys? You know, that's kind of the ideal rotation in college basketball. You look at history, there has been a couple 9 and 10 rotation teams. You think back to that 2014, 2015 Kentucky team that did go 38-1, and they had a blue platoon and a white platoon. They played 10 and played pretty much even minutes amongst those 10, but most teams, the number's 8, the number's 9, and I think, William, we've had an opportunity to kind of see what guys are made of, especially in that MTE, because you had guys who were tired. But now I kind of want to see that rotation. Like, it's December. We've only got a handful of games now before conference play. I still want to see exactly who are the 6, 7, 8 guys in this rotation. I think we know the starting 5. It's just a matter of, I think we're seeing the role of each player, but it's where do they kind of fall in on the depth chart?
Well, people that have stood out for me, impressively stood out to me, that are coming off the bench recently have been Jan, particularly last game. He stood out, played very well against A&T, did his role on both sides of the floor. And Jay Woodard did very well. And then I would say, if I had to throw in another guy, I think that Juice, when he's healthy, Samaru, he is playing very well and is good to come in for Hayes because they're very similar sizes, very similar play style. They're going to bring the ball up the court. They're not going to, besides last game, Hayes was taking a bunch of shots and going at the rim. But Juice isn't too much of a shooter. He's going to try to pass the ball out to Felton and get Felton as a lead scorer.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see because I like Juice as well, but we've seen Tybo Bailey in his absence. So what I'm really hoping is that you would hope that there's a true number 2 point guard because you want to, again, you want to kind of keep that flow in the offense and not just have so much of a rotation that guys are sitting for extended periods of time. But I'm thinking Tybo Bailey, he's a freshman. He could definitely, if we can just get him to see sporadic minutes here and there, just to stay used to the pace of college basketball, even if he's that number 3 point guard, would like to see him bump up and maybe be the starter next year because, look, Cam Hayes, no more year of eligibility. Julian Samaro, I don't think he has any more eligibility. He's listed as a senior. I don't know if with COVID.
I don't believe he has one.
Yeah, you never know these days. I think as of now he doesn't, but I've seen guys, find years of eligibility like walking down the street and they somehow pick up one. So this day and time. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Tybo Bailey. I think he's been good. He hasn't been great, but hey, he's a freshman and he's still adapting to the speed of the game. So it's going to be interesting to see how this works, and this is definitely one of the older teams I think that we've seen here at East Carolina in a long time. You look at C.J. Walker. He is a grad student. You look at some of these other guys who have transferred in. Jordan Riley, he's a senior. We mentioned, you mentioned Julian Samaro. He's a senior. Obviously, Cam Hayes is a senior. Jay Woodard has played 2 years, even though it's been at the JUCO level. So I like the experience, and I think, you mentioned there that guys aren't me. And they've come from programs, some of which, for example, Jay, where he was the guy. I'm guessing at the JUCO level, I don't know, I haven't seen the tape, but I'm guessing they had one offense: give Jay the ball and get the heck out of his way. I mean, he was a JUCO All-American. I'm sure he was the best player on the court. And you look at some of these other guys coming from smaller schools like Juice coming from Gardner-Webb, and they've really played unselfishly and fit into this offense. And really, this is the most excited I've been about Pirate basketball in a while.
I think this year is very fun to watch and has been fun to watch. And like you mentioned with Jay, he grew up in Harlem, and everybody knows that at the Rucker, you're just playing a bunch of washed-up NBA players who are trying to show off that they still have it and that they're going to go at the rim and try to put you in the basket. So him growing up there and even playing the JUCO level, I agree with what you said. It was probably just all him trying to do fancy stuff, go to the rim, do a 360 layup, and try to make it in. But how he's transitioned to the Mike Schwartz offense, which is a lot heavy on giving the love to everybody, letting everybody have part of the action, it's been really nice watching him out there.
Yeah, that was my one worry with him, kind of coming in the season. And then, well, I would say it was my worry when we got him, and then I met him. And he was in here a couple weeks before the season started. I was like, yo, this guy, he's bought into the team. You could tell just by his body language and the way he carried himself. And I think, like you said, man, Rucker Park, it's ISO ball, right? It's blacktop basketball, it's positionless basketball. And not saying there's anything wrong with playing there, but you're going to develop maybe some bad habits. And then you go to the JUCO level. And I'm not saying that he came in with bad habits necessarily, but they can be easy to be developed, It's not like you're coming from an area where it's like, yeah, man. He even talked about, and I'm bouncing around, but he talked about not having a lot of people at his high school games. He didn't grow up in an area in Harlem where, everybody's hanging out at Rucker Park. They're not going to high school games. You didn't have this probably structure in high school like what you and I grew up with, where you go in and there is a student section and there is a coach that is making sure you play kind of a Mike Schwartz brand of basketball. Yeah, maybe it's more offensive heavy than defensive heavy, but it still is that, hey, we share the ball. We're a team. We're this, we're that. You probably don't get as much of that in Harlem. Like I said, the JUCO level, well, when you're the best player, one of the best players in the country, they're going to get out of your way. It's just how it is, right? I mean,
I have to give some credit to Harlem Rucker, because playing that ISO ball might be the reason why his defense is so good, because he has been phenomenal on the defensive end, especially with blocking shots. He's a mismatch nightmare being 6'7" at point guard. And he's a freak athlete. So seeing him down low, I'm really interested to see if he'll come into the game today and guard Newby, because Newby has been the leading scorer for Wilmington, and he's dropping 16 points, 17, 19, 33 some games. And it doesn't matter who you're playing. If you're putting up 33 points, it's impressive. So I'm really interested to see how hopefully Cam Hayes will start out on Newby. I think they're both about a similar size. But if Jay Woodard comes in being probably about 7 inches taller than Newby, it'll be interesting to see how he adapts and is able to play down to that height.
Yeah, so Newby is 6'1", 190, and he's from Chicago Heights, and I'm sure he probably played a little blacktop ball in his day, maybe not to the fame of Rucker Park, but it's interesting that you bring up that ability to play defense, and I think that you hit the nail on the head there, is because look, when you're playing on the blacktop, the last thing you want is to get crossed up and somebody go yam one behind you, because nobody's going to pick you. It don't matter how many points you scored. If you got crossed up and you look bad, you're not getting picked up ever again. That is your one chance. So you have to be a good defender. You've got to defend with your feet and not your hands, and that's a good point. And yeah, it would be interesting to see him on Newby. If he comes out, if Cam comes out, and obviously somebody's got to go in on him, because, like you said, 6'7". I mean, he's last time we talked about a point guard this time, we were talking about Magic Johnson. I mean, I guess Nikola Jokic runs the point sometimes, and LeBron can run the one.
I was going to say LaMelo Ball, but
yeah, that's true. That's true. How tall is LaMelo? Is LaMelo 6'6", 6'7"?
6'7", 6'7".
Yeah.
Yep.
So, look, it can be done. Magic proved it, when he came out in '79, obviously, and it was an anomaly then, but it's become a thing now. So, look, man, I'm not going to say that the sky's the limit for this team, but I definitely think this is a team that a lot of people, but due to the new faces, were worried about coming into the year, and now they're probably a little less worried, or at least I think they should be a little less worried. But you got any?
I think it should be the most optimistic that ECU fans have been about basketball in quite a few years.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. I'm pumped up. I'm excited for tonight. Ticked I got stuck in the studio. Not going to call out names because you're not one of them because you did respond to the text. But there was a text, and I said, I'll produce unless somebody else wants to. And he just never responded.
No,
but
that
Dom
has been
either.
a common theme.
I know. We let so Dom is from Wilmington, so he and his boys all wanted to go to the game. I always let him go every year as a fan. So I think last year we let Joe go cover it. So we didn't want to leave Joe alone on a Tuesday night with the technology of the radio station. Something might catch on fire if we left Joe back here. But
these are the same friends of Dom that told Dom you could not start out 6-0. Granted, they were right, but ECU is 7-1 now, so they obviously didn't have a lot of faith in ECU basketball, but they're about to get a taste of it.
I hope so. I think most of Dom's friends go to most of the games. They're big basketball guys. They hang out. They watch college and NBA a lot. They love to play pickup. They're on 2 intramural teams, so I think they do. But, yeah, I think this is going to be a little bit of hopefully a rude awakening for them if they haven't been to a Pirate game this year, haven't been paying attention. But I wonder.
I'm hoping so, but every time ECU and UNC Wilmington play, I mean, no matter if one team is bad or one team is good, it's always going to be a competitive matchup, home or away.
It is, yeah. I mean, there's been a couple. Trying to think off the top. Like when we went there a couple years ago, it was bad. But for the most part, there's been some years that they've come in here. I'm like, oh, they're better than us. They're going to kick our rear end. And then they don't. There's actually been a few that we've won that I didn't think we were going to win. Like this, and, Mike kind of talked about it earlier when we played that soundbite from him, but this really is becoming a rivalry. And when it's a true rivalry, it's throw the records out the window. We saw it this weekend, with Michigan and Ohio State, right? Like on paper, Ohio State should have won that game by 30, and they don't because of the magnitude of the game and with all the conference realignment, the craziness that happens now. Obviously Charlotte's a rival of us. They've got rivals, but these two have played each other a lot more than we've played teams in our conference, or they've played teams in their conference. And I really think it is one. And to your point, Wade, it's kind of lived up to the hype most years. I kind of hope it doesn't tonight. I hope we win by 25, but I think this is going to be an entertaining one. I really do.
I think this will be a good game, and whether it's a rivalry or not, hopefully there is no flag planting in the middle of the court. As that has been a common theme the past few days of this week, and it has not ended well for anybody. So hopefully we will not have any flag planting and no fighting on the court.
All right, so what are your thoughts on that? Patrick and I hit on it yesterday, but since I think you had slid off yesterday once we started talking about that, right?
Yeah, I think I have, but Baker Mayfield was actually asked about it yesterday. As we know, he's the one that started it with Oklahoma. But when Baker Mayfield did it, I watched it back because I was very interested. I was like, well, how did Baker Mayfield do this, and how did it get so popular? Baker waited until the other team went into their locker room before he celebrated on their field, planting his flag. But the way that I look at it is, just don't lose. If you have 60 minutes to fight, and if you lose, you can't be upset afterwards. Just win and protect your turf.
I agree wholeheartedly. However, I do think, not saying you have to wait till they're like totally back in the locker room, but I do think you should at least wait till the coaches. And I'm not saying the one that these teams have it. I mean, I'm not 100% sure what all happened this weekend. Obviously, I've seen a lot more of the aftermath than I did it actually live. I do think they should allow the two coaches to shake hands and part ways and kind of get the majority of people off. Like, I don't think if there's a bunch of people standing on the logo, high-five and shaking hands, that should happen. And I don't think that did happen. So I don't think you should just run out there and do it off the jump. But, yeah, if you do it after, I think it kind of looks bad, but I don't think it should be, like, illegal or anything. It's kind of like scoring. It's like dancing when you score a touchdown. You don't want somebody to dance in your end zone. Well, don't let them get in the end zone and they won't dance in it. So
yeah, I would agree. I mean, I'm sure the NCAA is going to crack down on this and find some reason to blame this on the teams and the players, and that it's going to be the next storm in the field situation where if you do it, you're going to get fined a heavy amount of money, and it's going to try to tell you not to do it. But part of me thinks that's just going to make people want to do it even more.
Okay, if the Pirates start doing it, say we win in Charlotte in 2 years and we do it, should it be a sword? Should it be a flag? Because not everybody was a flag. Arizona State threw the trident the Devils.
Yeah, they had their
tried it.
pitchfork or whatever.
Yeah, the pitchfork. Yes, thank you.
But I think a sword would be very unique. I think it would be something cool. The flag, I mean, I can't say it's overplayed because what else are you going to put in the ground if your mascot is a Sooner? But for Pirates, I think a sword would be very acceptable and nice to throw into the ground and stake your ground.
Yeah, I think the only way the Sooners could have done it other than the flag is you'd had to like go back to Norman, get the Sooner scooter, and then drive it, and then park the big, covered buggy over the, and that's not going to happen. So yeah, I'm with the flag because the flag's always been kind of, you look in times of war, it's like, okay, we planted our flag on your fort, we've taken it over. So I'm cool with the flag, but if you can get a prop based off your mascot, for example, the pitchfork, I think Duke should have a try at it. I think the Pirates should have a sword, and I think they should do the sword and put the pirate hat on top of the sword after they stick it in the ground. That's what I'm all for. Of course, as I'm saying, do that at Charlotte. They got a turf field. That's a good way to mess up the turf field and then really start a rivalry. If you're sticking a sword into a turf field, but hey, I'm all for it.
I'm all for it too, and like you said, I think a prop would be perfect. Like the first thing that came to my mind when you said prop was UTEP Miners, like them putting a pitchfork into the middle of a stadium field. I think that'd be, not a pitchfork, a pickaxe.
I like where your head's at. You just gave Charlotte an idea. What the hell?
Oh,
okay,
yeah,
we're already 0-2 against
in the middle of our field.
They come here next year in football. Dang it, William, you're fired. You just gave our biggest rival a freaking idea. I guess we got to beat them. Don't let it happen again. We won't have this problem. But
that's what we were just talking about. Just beat them. If you beat them in those 60 minutes, then they have no reason to stab your field.
That is true. That is true. So, all righty, man. Whoa. What is going on? I was trying to get Purple Haze queued up, and I started pushing buttons, and it started playing other stuff.
Difficulties.
Yeah. Wow, that was some Joey football technical difficulties right there. That was rough. I apologize. All righty, William.
Yeah, let's get on some Purple Haze. Getting ready for game time.
Yeah, let's do it. We get a minute and a half left. I don't want to play it too early because I don't want YouTube to pop us for copyright. You know how much of jerks those guys are, so I'm gonna wait a little bit.
They're always trying to get their money wherever they can.
Yeah, jerks. So is what it is. But well, man, I appreciate you filling in for the P-Man. This is a lot easier doing 30 minutes talking to somebody as opposed to doing 30 minutes of sound bites. So I appreciate you.
Yeah, and I got to wear the same headset as Patrick, so I'm basically walking in greatness. Some would say.
I would say you're starting your own career, but if you want to word it that way and be nice to Patrick, that's great. You're the only person around here who is nice to Patrick, so the rest of us all like to give him a hard time, including Henry. So I'm sure he will appreciate that.
And I would like to state out that he does have the nicer headset. This headset is nicer than the one that I typically have to wear. He puts me with the bummy one that has an echo.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's Crofts, and you wear RVs, so it could be the other way around. Maybe Crofts the one who messes it up, and RV keeps his nice. I'm not sure, but either way, we appreciate you.
All right, thank you for having me.
All righty, that was William Grover. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks to Patrick. Thanks to Cy Seymour. We're going to get out of here. Remember, tune in tomorrow as John Gilbert will be on. Pirate basketball is next. Darren Vaught, Pirates, and the Seahawks.